Indeed, we do, yeah. Now, over the past week or so, we've seen that a number of footballers have been recently subjected to racist abuse on social media platforms. Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden says he's prepared to get tough and says senior management at social firms could face criminal sanctions if nothing is done. Now, Marcus Rashford was one of these players who took to Twitter to give his matter and the horrible racist abuse he received, saying, "Humanity and social media at its worst. Yes, I'm a black man and I live every day proud that I am. No one comment is going to make me feel any different. So sorry if you were looking for a strong reaction. You're just simply not going to get it here." Now, guys, we wanted to ask you, how did you react when you first saw this story? Zuu, how did you react, mate?
I mean, it's something that's it's interesting. I think the kind of prominence about the conversation now is definitely changing. It was something that people were aware of, but never kind of expressed. They didn't want to become that person in the room, or didn't want to be viewed as the person that was bringing it up. And now it's getting called out. Now, when people express racism, we are allowed to tell people you are racist. Whereas before we kind of had to accept it and just shy away from it because you didn't want to be that loud person that's talking about it. Now completely changed. And when I see football players who are really under a lot of pressure to be this perfect citizen for society, they're actually taking a risk and calling it out and willing to lose followers and fans to promote the right message. And I respect that more than anything, man.
Indeed. Now, you guys are prominent figures in the entertainment and music industry. If you don't mind me asking, Chunkz, have you ever received any kind of racist abuse on social media?
Yeah, man. Social media, you have to expect these trolls. You got people with no followers and no Avi and no display pictures, and they're just screaming left, right, and center some crazy stuff, and they're just kind of like it sounds bad, but I've almost gotten used to it. And I know I shouldn't, but it's like if you let this hit your mental, then it's only going to go left for you. Because at the end of the day, I'm not lying when I say I receive social media hate through social media on a racist one, like most of the time anyway. It's like just for no reason, and I feel like there needs to be a better way of policing it on social media. Because I feel like if you're putting up, let's say, a football video, for example, on Twitter or something, that can get taken down within minutes. Do you know what I mean? Because of the fact that it's not licensed. But if I've seen racist comments just lingering on the TL on the timeline, so it's kind of like, how long until you take that down? Does someone have to flag it in order for you to understand? You know what I mean? So I feel like social media has obviously got a big part to play in this, but then it's also bigger than social media as well. You know what I mean? It's a society problem at the end of the day.
100%.
You can't even police it in the world, so it's going to be very difficult to police it in sports.
Have you ever been tempted to report it yourself? Obviously, you just said then you've received it.
For me, it's like, obviously I report the DMs that come in, but I know that they've got 3 followers. I know they're going to probably make another account and just, hey, mate, I know you blocked me, but guess what? I'm back here again, because obviously they don't get blocked off. You know what I mean? IG don't get blocked off their internet. You know what I mean? They just get blocked out of their account. So I've definitely reported as much as I can see, but it's kind of like, I'm not trying to come off that defeated vibe of what else can I do, but it's like, really, what more can we do as people? You know what I mean? We can call it out when we see it. We can, but I think it's just it's a huge problem, and I feel like there needs to be bigger sanctions, bigger penalties for people that are just openly racist, because, you know what I mean? I feel like it's just getting swept under the rug too much.
Yeah, I mean, Reece James this week, he was tweeting as well about this issue, and I thought it was a really, really strong tweet. He said, "We all have a part to play in making this world a better and more equal place. Racism is completely unacceptable. Human is our only race. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you must do more. No to racism." And I think that's a really interesting point, isn't it? That social media companies themselves should be doing so much more, right, Zuu?
Yeah, it's a really tough one, bro, because at the end of the day, social media is created for the avenue of free speech, and to monitor that is a very, very, very hard task. I remember when Facebook first asked me to send my passport in for me to have a Facebook account, I was like, what? Why do I need to do this? I did it, and it definitely makes sense, but just looking at the kind of ways that you can move forward with it, because people do say, everyone should have ID to be online, but then, there's a high proportion of people from low social economic backgrounds who can't afford to have ID or don't have access to having their ID. So that means you're cutting them away from social media. For me, what the companies need to do is create a process that actually bans people from creating new accounts. Like, these man got mad technology, IP address, all these things. Like, how can you not stop someone from that? Maybe just their device from creating a new, like, the app should be blocked from your phone. They need to link up with Apple, Samsung, all these man, and make a way where if this person is creating abusive content from their social media and they're just abusing people online, you can't have the app on your phone no more. That's easier said than done, but technology is mad. They cloned the sheep in the 90s, but they can do different things now. But come on, man.
Well, the government have also spoken on this issue of racist messages and social media companies not doing enough. The Culture Secretary has said, if you fail to enforce your own terms and conditions, stand up to your duty of care, then we will impose fines and will take the power to impose very large fines, indeed up to 10% of global turnover. Now, Chunkz, do you think these huge government fines would force social media companies into finally taking action against this?
Of course, man, you hit them where it hurts. You know what I mean? You know, social media love their money. So once you start talking about affecting their money, they're going to look left and think, all right, cool, now we actually need to do something about it. But if I was to ask you guys a genuine question in terms of what happens now if someone gets caught for being a racist, like what's the actual punishment in terms of the government? What's actually the punishment? I'm asking the question.
Well, so far, not enough.
So,
Clearly,
and I feel like that in itself just shows the information failure. So like people aren't scared to be racist because they don't know what's going to come back and hit them. You know what I mean? It might be what a little fine, but I feel like it needs to be more serious than that. And people need to be informed now. If you're a racist, then X, Y, and Z, and it needs to be as clear cut as that. You know what I mean? So no people know if you go outside to rob a shop, you're most likely going to get arrested. You know what I mean? But people now know if they're racist, I'm going to get banned off Twitter. It needs to be more serious, in my opinion. And I feel like they need to do something more.
What punishment would you suggest if you were to suggest one?
I feel like just something that's going to be a hindrance in your life, especially in the pandemic we're in right now. People are tight on money, but I'm saying if you're racist, it doesn't matter what situation you're in. You have to pay this fine, or you have to be in an informative class, or you have to do community service. Just something that's going to be a complete hindrance in your life. And I feel like because of you being an idiot, now this is what should happen to you. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, like information failure is happening quite a bit. So I feel like we need to know what the actual punishment is for being racist. And I genuinely don't know what it is, you know what I mean, which is bad in itself.
Well, Ian Wright feels the same as you, Chunkz. He was subjected to racism after a teenager sent 20 messages on Instagram. In his statement on Instagram, he said, "I've seen today's judgment and I'm disappointed. This case was never about revenge. It was always about consequences for acts of racism. My forgiveness of this young man was for my own deeply personal need and desire to move forward without further anguish. I'm a 57-year-old man that has experienced racism throughout my life. I wasn't expecting my forgiveness to be an invitation to lighten a sentence. Seeing this judgment, I can only wonder what deterrent there is for anyone else who spouts this kind of vile racist abuse. An individual wished death upon me because of my skin colour. No judge's claims of naivety or immaturity will ever be acceptable to us. The supposed immaturity and naivety of our attackers is never any comfort. So yeah, I am disappointed. I'm tired. We are all tired." Zuu, those are some very, very powerful words by Wright. We kind of Chunkz touched upon what punishment that could happen for these people. Do you think there should also be maybe, as we said, kind of like an educational course, like there is for, say, speed awareness if you're caught speeding or in a car? Do you think something like that would help?
Yeah, I definitely think ignorance is bliss, and at the end of the day, I think racism stems from what you're taught within your household and the people that are around you. So if you're forced to go to a camp or something, like you said, an awareness course where people can install these things into your mind, people might say, "Oh, there's nothing. They're just going to go there and they're not going to care." But your subconscious is real, and sometimes these are the things that need to be done for people to deter their minds from thinking racist thoughts. And sometimes you don't know any better. You know, you come from a surrounding where your opinion is actually everyone else's opinion. So then you feel like, why can't I feel like this towards this person of color or towards this person who is different? And if you had something that was teaching you and a course that was able to remind you of what you're doing is wrong, maybe it'll make a change, man. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Clinton Morrison actually on Sky Sports News earlier this week was really powerful on this whole topic, really. So let's give that a quick listen as well.
Why should they stop going on there because of the color of their skin? Well, then if you're going to tell them to stop, everyone should come off it then. Every individual should come off it. It shouldn't be because you're a black footballer, a young black footballer, or a black person in the media that you should be able to, or a black person of any, whatever you do in life, that you should be able to come off social media because you're getting racially abused. No, I'm sick and tired of it. I have had enough of it. I knew for a fact when I came onto the show today, we have to talk about it because we have to identify it. And I knew that I'd come on here and get frustrated, and I always get frustrated because it's something close to my heart. Like, I knew I should have been saying something about it 10, 12 years ago, but I didn't. But now I respect these people like Marcus Rashford and Raheem Sterling because they've made others come out, and now no one ain't afraid to speak about it now. And that's what I should have done then, and that's why I'm angry with myself, because I know before years ago I should have come out and said much more, but I didn't think I'd be heard. But now everyone is starting to hear, but there's too much baby steps. We need to take bigger steps.
Yeah, I mean, that was great from Clinton Morrison. I thought that. How important do you guys think it is that, Marcus Rashford, Raheem Sterling, these players with huge platforms are able to challenge racism now, Chunkz?
I think it's incredible, honestly. People with such big platforms and such big fan bases, they might even get to change the minds of their fans. And, they've probably got fans that are racist, but then they like Marcus Rashford. It has to make sense, you know what I mean? Marcus Rashford's a black man, you know what I mean? So you can't now say he's one of the best and then your friend down the road, he's a whatever, because he's, you know what I mean? I feel like they're going to open people's minds, they're going to open people's eyes and think, you know what, like, we're just all the same anyway. So just because my man's black doesn't mean that he's, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I feel like it's very big that these players can come out and speak out loud about it. And I do respect them highly.
Yeah, and it's great to see more diversity in the media recently as well. People like Micah Richards, I think, is a real leader in that area. He's brilliant to watch on television. And, at Sky Sports, we are really committed to removing all hate from our social media platforms. If you do see any hateful reply or comment on a Sky Sports social media post, please start emailing screenshots to againstonlinehate@skysports.com. That's againstonlinehate@skysports.com.